Get Gutsy, episode number 121 with Chantelle Adams on Say Yes to Your Fears. Welcome to Get Gutsy. I'm your host, Jenny Fennig, and I am so excited to be on this journey with you. A cutting-edge show blending business and spirituality, Get Gutsy serves up a potent blend of stories, lessons, and tips to help you make a massive impact in the world through your soul's work and your inspired life. No more going it alone, no more excuses. The world needs more brave women saying yes to leadership. Are you with me? Good. Let's get gutsy now. Hey everybody, Jenny here. How are you? How are you? Oh, I'm taking a deep breath because there's just been a lot happening. Can you feel it? It's January. Wow. What a month. Pretty intense, not gonna lie. How about you? Yes, it has been one for the record books, and yet here we are. We're still standing, we're still doing this thing. We've got people to help, families to raise, bodies to take care of, minds to nurture, spirits to tend to, all of it. So, great episode for you today, as always. You know how we roll here. And I wanted to create a special message for you before we dive into this fabulous episode with Chantelle Adams. You're going to love her. She is a ray of sunshine. I want to let you know that we got something going on and you should be a part of it. Come play. This thing is kicking off on Tuesday, February 7th. So if you listen to these podcast episodes right around the time they go live, then it's about a week from now. And this thing is going to usher in something big and awesome and brand new for you and for my business. And I'm excited. I want you to be a part of it. I can't do this stuff alone, right? It's a group effort. January has very much felt like a hibernation and going inward month for me. Yes, I served in a really deep way with my mastermind clients. We were in Costa Rica for a week. I've been really working with them. Some big shifts are coming up. My coaching school students have like kicked off their journey in the winter class, so we're in the throes of all of that, which has been amazing. But for me personally, I've been hibernating. I've been going inward. I've been really listening to myself more than listening to what's going on with chatter, especially in the lands of social media and things like that. I definitely have been keeping my eyes open with what's happening in the world. And yet when it comes to making moves in my business and for me personally, it's been a very inward cave time experience. And I highly recommend that because it can get super loud and overwhelming if you just listen to everybody else. So, after listening to myself truly and how I want to lead this year, I am emerging stronger, wiser, and so ready to serve in a deeper capacity. And I'm asking you if you want to join me on the quest to serve in a deep capacity. And I hope you are saying yes. Sign me up, Jenny. Okay, so here's the deal. I am offering up something rad. It's called the Tribe Building Challenge. You may have been a part of it in the past, and maybe you haven't. Maybe you never heard of it until now. You're going to absolutely love it. It's 5 days, it's free, and essentially it is all about helping you help more people. Grow your audience, business, and confidence. It's for spiritual coaches, healers, and creatives, all you gutsy souls out there who are changing the world with your gifts. So come on in. You can go to thetribebuildingchallenge.com. That's thetribebuildingchallenge.com. You'll see everything that goes down on that page. You just very simply enter your name and email address and you will be in. We are going to have players from all over the world being a part of the Tribe Building Challenge. I love leading this particular challenge because, wow, what comes out of the players is spectacular. You all are going to create these just gorgeous pieces of writing and expression and just showing the world why you do what you do, why you have this love in your heart for helping the people you came here to help. And that truly is a key to you growing this year, growing your business, growing your impact, growing your soul. You see what I'm saying? All right, so I want you to come play. It's time to rise, and you can do that at thetrybuildingchallenge.com. And when you sign up too, I'm going to send you something super helpful, and you're going to love it. All right, so I'll see you there. And when you sign up and you come into our Facebook group, if you're not already part of it, just say hi and be like, Jenny, I listened to you on the podcast. I'm here. I always like to know where my people are coming from. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to open up this episode. We are focused on the magical world of speaking, really hitting the stage and speaking. If that's something you want to do this year especially, then you're going to love Chantelle Adams. She's had to move through fears, as all of us do. The theme of this episode is say yes to your fears, and I know you're going to get a ton of value from it. Enjoy. Okay, everybody, Jenny here. Welcome back to Get Gutsy. Listen, we have, of course, an amazing guest, because that's what we have for you. Like, all the time. That's what we do here on the show, is just serve up inspiring stories, powerful conversations to help you get gutsy and go after all those things that you want to manifest and experience in your life. So let me tell you about our amazing gal who's joining us today. Her name is Chantelle Adams, and she is a speaker, speech stylist, and courage igniter. Yeah, she belongs here. She's delivered over 800 speeches and added more than 6 figures to her business through speaking. Okay, so for all y'all listeners who want to get out there and speak more, and I know I have a ton, because I have a lot of clients who tell me they want to do this or are doing this, and I know I have a lot of listeners out there too who want to do more speaking. Chantelle teaches entrepreneurs how to own their story and have the courage to share it. Welcome to Get Gutsy, Chantelle.
Woohoo! I'm excited. This is going to be so fun, and I love the Get Gutsy podcast, and the conversations that you have are so important. So thank you for having me on.
Yes, my pleasure. It's going to be a powerful conversation for sure, because you make a piece of your living through speaking. So this is what you do, like you talk.
That's right. Yes, whenever I'm going over the border, I always have that. What do I say? The first time I was going over as a speaker, and he asked me what I do, and I said, I speak. And I was like, okay, that's not probably enough information to really say what I do. But you're right. Yes, people get a kick out of the fact that I speak about speaking as well. So
exactly, you speak about speaking. So, all right. So let's dive deep. Let's talk about, like, how did you figure out that you speak, that this is something that you love to do, and that, hey, I could actually earn money like speaking, what all of us do pretty much every day of our lives, speak. How'd you find your way into this?
From the time I was little, I've loved performing. I've been on stages singing and playing the piano and dancing, and so I'm very comfortable in that space. And I remember doing some work as a teenager and being able to speak on different stages, and that really lit me up. And then I kind of let it go as I was being a mom and that kind of thing. And then I was in the schools, and I was working with special needs children. And I remember people would come in and they would present, and either they were boring but they had a good message, or they were super entertaining but had no message at all. And it was just this little light bulb moment for me where I could do this. I could totally do this. And so I set out, and primarily when I started speaking, it was in the education market. And I was delivering assemblies for kids, all on values like courage and determination and teamwork, and loved it. And I was able to bring lots of entertainment and fun, but also really deliver a powerful message.
Cool. So you started in the school realm.
I did, yes. Loved it. And I would speak to kindergartners all the way up to, high school kids, student leadership, parenting conferences, because the education bracket, teacher conferences. So there's a lot of opportunities in that kind of realm under that umbrella.
So who was hiring you at that point?
The schools were, so administration. So just getting your foot in the door is the hardest thing for any speaking, right? It's just getting that first yes. And then I thought once you get in, then word of mouth will take over. As long as you can rock that stage and really deliver on what you said you're going to do, then that word of mouth really helped. And I found building that deep relationship with one administrator, and then having that opportunity to lead an assembly in her school. And right then she went and told all of her administrator friends, and I was booked up solid that first year. So it definitely is a great way to get booked.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. That's really good insight. Actually, just today I had a conversation with one of my clients, and he really wants to be a speaker. It's like his biggest goal in the history of goals, and he wants to really get in with schools. And so I'm going to certainly point out this episode for him to listen to, as he can hear more about your journey. Okay, so you did this thing in the schools. Like, how many years were you serving that community?
About 5 years, and I did 800 speeches in that time, as you heard. So that was about 175 a year. And so a lot of speaking, a lot of opportunity. And then that's where I started to feel I needed to somehow leverage my time. I started to feel that energy of, because you're really up, especially when you're in with kids and youth.
Yeah.
You have to have the energy big time. And so I did start to think, what can I do to start to leverage and grow this work that I'm doing? And I wasn't quite sure. And it really led me actually to my kind of big kind of breakthrough moment of, I had lost a very dear friend of mine to breast cancer, and much too young. And I remember sitting at her funeral, and her oldest son, who was just out of high school, he was up at the pulpit, and he was telling about her final hours. And he said, Mom was fighting right up to her final breath. And then he said she wasn't done fighting because she wasn't done living. And in that moment, it just, like, the wind got knocked out of me. And I remember sitting there, tears streaming down my face. And the thought came into my heart and my mind of, you're sitting here alive and breathing, but you're not really living. And it was hard. It was a hard pill for me to swallow, because I had the good life, the white picket fence kind of thing, right? And yet I knew there was something more that I needed to be doing. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it until about a couple months later, I realized, as I was diving deep and figuring out, what has led me to this place of feeling like I'm not fully living my life. And I realized at the root of everything, every decision I had made that had led me to that point, was really based in that nasty 4-letter word, fear. And so then I sat down and wrote my fear list. And so everything I had ever wanted to do but hadn't because of fear, and started checking things off one by one. And the top of the list was skydiving. And I remember getting the call from a friend saying, hey, you want to go jump out of an airplane with me? And every part of me wanted to say, heck no. But I said yes. And that was a huge lesson for me in saying yes to those things that really scare me. And in that yes, I also knew I needed a bigger why to really move through that fear. And so that's one of the things that I always come back to, is making my why bigger than my fear. And this led me to, okay, I'm going to fall 10,000 feet to raise $10,000 to build a school in Nicaragua. And at the time I was taking B school, and I posted in the group and I said, I'm doing this crazy thing. I'm facing my biggest fear, and I want to write a story or a book, co-author a book of stories of courage to give away as a thank you for anyone who donates to my project.
Cool.
Would anybody be interested? And all of these women shot up their hands and crazy. And this community came together and helped me in so many ways to achieve this goal. And it was in that moment where I was like, okay, this is what I need to be doing. I need to be working with women entrepreneurs, serving them. And the thing that I love more than anything else is speaking. And that's what I'm going to teach them. So it was just this beautiful aha of, I kept trying to figure out a way to serve that community I was already serving.
Right.
But in taking this leap of faith and stretching myself outside of my comfort zone in a totally different way,
right,
it brought the opportunity to the forefront, and the realization that I love surrounding myself with powerhouse women who are on a mission, and I want to support them. So it was this really cool journey of how getting out of our comfort zone and stretching and facing our fears in life can actually bring us the clarity and the confidence and the understanding of what we're really meant to do in business.
Absolutely. Now, when you originally joined B School, I'm curious, did you know at that point, I'm going to serve entrepreneurs, or you just felt like, I've got to do something. I need to join some kind of program so I can leverage my time better, because you were just kind of in that old model of serving schools and teaching, talking to students and administrators and parents. Like, what was the impetus for you to join that training program?
Yes, and I actually created my assembly program as like a done for you resource that anyone could just take and teach themselves in the schools. So that's where I was coming, is to learn like, how do I leverage this online? So I was still going in that same way. But then when this opportunity came and I was surrounded by these incredible women, it was like, wait a minute, this is what's really lighting me up right now. I need to.
So you pivoted. Once you were in that program, you pivoted.
Yes. And it was a big pivot, right?
Yeah.
It felt very different, and into a very unknown. I knew that I knew how to speak and I loved it and all that good stuff, but could I actually teach that?
Yes.
Like, is that a skill I could actually teach?
Okay, cool. So let's talk about the pivot. How did you do that? Did you walk away immediately from this school speaking you had been doing? Was it a slower transition? Let's talk about like the logistics of that pivot.
Yes, for sure. So I continued. November was when, August is when I jumped out of the airplane. The pivot came where I knew I needed to serve the women entrepreneurs, but I wasn't quite sure yet. The real download came in like October. I was at a Zumba class. So once again, shaking my booty.
Movement. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And I walk outside and it was just like this total download of, I knew the program name was going to be Centerstage. I sat in my car for 20 minutes and I outlined the entire course. I ran home. I was so excited, posted it on Facebook and said, would anybody be interested in this? Like, is this even feasible? This is what just came to me. I'm so excited about it. It was totally a genuine share. And I got over 150, heck yeah, I want to know more. And I went, oh, okay, this is something. And then in that point, I had no website, no nothing in this new area of business. Right. And I put up a blog post and an ugly PayPal button to invite my very first beta testers. I wanted to have 10 women join. I had 11, and we kicked off in November. So in less than 6 weeks, I had my group filled, and I was teaching Centerstage for the very first time. And I created it as I went. So I didn't have it finished. Right. I created it every week on Thursday. I'd have the content to my designer. She'd put it in a pretty PDF by Saturday night, and Sunday night I would send it out to my list.
Beautiful. Okay, so it was just like progress, not perfection. You put the blog post up, PayPal link. Okay, what's interesting too, do you remember what your price point was for that first beta program?
Totally. Yes, it was $250, and that freaked me out.
Really?
Yes, I was stressing out. I had never, and so I had 11 people sign up, so it was $2,750, and that was the most exciting income that I'd ever gotten to. I remember I was speaking in Vancouver, and I put it out there, and I was like, oh my goodness, is anyone ever going to buy this? And I was freaking out, you know how we do. And I arrived at my hotel where I was speaking, and I went onto the internet, and I remember the PayPal
notifications,
that very one, and I was like, oh, somebody bought it, and I was jumping on the bed and screaming, and it was just so exciting.
Right.
And it's gone through several iterations, and now it's at $19.97, $14.97 early bird, and the numbers have grown, right? So the price has gone up, the numbers have grown. It's been this beautiful evolution.
I love that. And what's interesting too, just kind of taking note of the numbers, and I'm digging deep because I know our audience is getting a lot out of this too, is that you originally put it out there. You had the idea after Zumba, you like mapped it out, put it up on Facebook, just like a genuine share, kind of testing. Does anybody care about this?
Right.
And 150 were like, yeah. And then when it came down to like, okay, and here it is, and now it's time to commit and invest some money, 11. Okay. And so it's like less than 1%, which is like what it is, like that's pretty much what it is. Like for a lot of sales pages, the conversion is like 1%. And so it pretty much followed that trend. And so I want our people to really take that in. You don't take it personally that like every person who said yes didn't sign up. That's kind of just the way it goes, because it's like then people have to commit. They've got to like block off the time on their schedule. They have to say, yeah, I'm going to invest in that. This is really what I want to do. It's easy to say yes and then it's a whole nother thing to actually make that commitment and make the investment. So I love it though. I love that you just went for it. Blog post, PayPal button, let's go. You created it as you went. That's how I created my first ever online course too. It is the way to go. Like y'all, you don't want to have it all done before you even launch it, because what if nobody even buys it? Then what are you going to do? We hope that's not the camp that you're in, but it does happen sometimes.
That's
okay.
Right.
So what year was that this happened?
So that was 2013.
Okay.
So yes, and that was in November, so the end of the year.
Uh-huh.
And in January, I did my first official launch, and I had 107 people on my email list from a Facebook challenge that I had run. And I remember I set my sights on a 10K launch, that very first like official launch after beta. And I knew, and this is one thing that a lot of people don't do, is work the numbers. So if you say you want to have a 10K launch, like what does that mean? What price point does my program need to be? How many people can I feasibly get in? I knew I needed to raise the price point because I didn't feel like I could get, 30, 40 people in. Yeah. So I raised it to $697 was the next jump from 250. And I'm like, okay, I need to get 15 or 16 people in. I felt really good about that, did that challenge. And then that I find from Facebook challenges, I typically actually have about a 10% conversion because it's such high touch and you're so immersive and you're so present that it's not just landing in someone's inbox. It's like they're right there going on this journey with you. And so even when I've tried to do other things, like other big gurus in the online world, I've always come back to a Facebook challenge really works well for me at every stage of business right now. I love it. I get to connect and deliver amazing value and really present with people. So that was super exciting. And a year later, I had my first 100K launch. So like it's this evolution of seeing how this has grown is just so fun.
And it's from that exact same program, the Centerstage program.
Yes.
So you like mastered it, finessed it, tweaked where necessary, got stronger on your messaging, on the marketing. When it comes to the Facebook challenges, curious, do you run like the same Facebook challenge, at certain times of the year? Do you have a few that you kind of pull from? How do you make those decisions?
So in the beginning, I had done, I was doing a new challenge each time that I would launch. And that first year I launched, I think 8 times. So I was like this mad woman of launching, I remember. And then the next year when I had my 100K launch, I just did a couple programs and a couple launches. And so that was really great. But then I used the one that I felt the best quality, that, delivered the best results. And so now that I launch kind of once a year, I'm going to use that. I use that same challenge because the majority are new people. And if it's someone coming back again for a second or third time, it's been a year since they've done it. And so they're in a new place and they can take away something new from it still.
Got it. What's the name of your Facebook challenge?
Speak Your Way to the Top. So yes, super fun.
I love it. I love it. These are really cool ideas for our people to try on for size. Like, all right, could I? And I'm a big fan of Facebook challenges too. We've done, and I have like kind of my 2 go-tos depending on what they're, guiding people into. But I too agree that Facebook challenges, they're different. And then they're even different than like webinars. They're different than, other kind of marketing stuff you can pull out of your bag of tricks because they are highly connected. Now I'm curious too, because I really like to dig deep into my guests like model, like what are the elements that you have in your business? Because our listeners are fine-tuning their models or even figuring out like, what am I doing? What am I selling? How do I want to structure this whole thing? When you run your challenge, do you are they in like a Facebook group that you have that's dedicated to the challenge? Do you have another one? Like how does the interaction take place within the challenge?
Yes. So in the Facebook group, I used to have an individual Facebook group for each challenge. And then I thought, why am I just kind of wiping the slate clean every time when these people could come back and enjoy, connecting over and over and over again. So now I have the Speaking Extravaganza Facebook group and every challenge is just run in there. And I do send out via email what the challenge is, the video and the PDF. So I always have a video and then a nice, simple PDF. And then in there, I mark it down, usually 2 or 3 tasks a day. So I'll have a very specific, do this and report back in this thread. And then people can win prizes and we have dance breaks. And so we really try to make it a lot of fun. So, but yes, awesome. Mostly all the real action is happening in the Facebook group.
The Facebook group. And is that active like throughout the year or is it really just active during the challenges?
Well, I haven't been as good at keeping it active throughout the year as I want to. I have been doing more just engagement recently, and definitely need to up that a little bit. But it is primarily the Facebook challenges where everybody kind of wakes up and comes back and
things happening. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I was curious like how you do that, because there's so many. Again, a lot of my community like they either have a free Facebook group or they're figuring out that they want to have one. I have had one for a little more than a year now, but it's definitely like super high vibe during our challenge weeks, like when we have those going on. And I think what you just have to get clear on is like, what is the intention of it, and where do you want to, how do you want to serve? And if you have like your other programs, like paid programs or, even membership communities that, you definitely have got to, nurture that and like really be present, because people are paying for that, like they are clients, paid customers in those groups. So it's kind of just like navigating how you want to leverage these various assets and tools within your business as you grow and evolve. How many months or how many weeks is the Centerstage program?
It's 6 weeks, and that has changed over time too. Sometimes I've added extra modules. Sometimes I've added, I just try different things every time to see what works, what feels good for myself and for the participants. And then I came back to, the shorter time frame. And then now I have, from that Centerstage program, which is really awesome, is I teach people how to get booked, but one of the things I say is you should have a demo video of you speaking and your speaker one sheet and testimonials and all those things. And a lot of people over and over and over were like, how do I get that? If I need a demo video, and you don't need it, but it definitely helps. But if I need a demo video to get booked to speak at a really great spot that I would love to have filmed, but I don't have a video yet, like how does that work? It was like the chicken and egg thing.
Right.
So the lesson here is like I started to listen, and this same question came up over and over through several sessions of Centerstage. And finally I went, I need to create something for this. Like this is a problem that is happening over and over. People are asking for. And so I created Centerstage Live, which is, we work VIP 2 months together to write your speech, really get it down. It's the TED style talk. And then they come for 3 days in total luxury, and they get their hair and their makeup. They have photo shoots. They get their speaker one sheet, their demo video, all that stuff. And it's a premium opportunity. And it was that next step. And it's beautiful how I never would have imagined that program at the beginning of Centerstage, but in listening to the needs and the problems and what people were asking for, then I was able to create exactly what was that next step.
Ooh,
and that was cool.
That's amazing.
That's been such an amazing experience for myself and those who attend. And it was that beautiful, again, just organic, this is what they need, right?
I love that. So those who go through Centerstage are then candidates to be a part of Centerstage Live, which it sounds like is a group experience over 2 months. And then you do a 3-day where everyone in that group comes over the 3 days.
Yes.
And they get and they get filmed and
they do their video shoot and their photo shoot. So, and then the month after, everything comes back to them done, right? Like, so they just get to, everybody says it's like Christmas, for entrepreneurs, because they get all these amazing gifts after they've done the work and shown up and had the courage to step on that stage. So it's a beautiful experience. Yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And now in terms of how you like sell that, is if you're launching like once a year and then someone goes through your program, are you pretty much up-leveling or upselling into Centerstage Live soon after they finish Centerstage?
Right. So what I did in the original time, it was just I had a group of about 25 or 30 in Centerstage.
Right.
And I can only take 12 people in this next program. Here's what it is. If you're interested, let me know. I'm going to be taking it live, like to my list and, on social media in the next week. And I totally booked up. So, and it's happened, that program too is up-leveled in pricing, just because there's so much cost and output associated with it. And I've up-leveled the experience as well. But what I found is the majority of people do come from my Centerstage program and funnel into Centerstage Live without me really having to do a launch or promote it. Or now actually I do promote Centerstage Live together. It's launch. And so I found that I was selling out, and now I've added a second Centerstage Live because it sells out so quick.
Got it. Okay, that's really smart. So you don't have to go through your core program to get in that, but the majority come through there and they're just like primed and ready and they loved it. And they're like, oh yeah, I want to do the live experience. It's kind of like level 2. It's like, okay, you've done the core stuff and now let's take it to that next level.
Yeah.
Nice. Very, very smart the way that you've done that. This is such a fun conversation. It's like where we geek out on like business stuff. Like, okay. And so then you're going to do that. I love all that. Because it's just like, it's really understanding the needs of your audience, serving them, and then listening. Like, okay, what are they continuing to ask for? How am I going to respond to that? And then, okay, here we go. Let's do that thing. Perfect. Okay, girly. Let's talk about challenges. Like, what's been hard?
What's been hard is, you think that you've gotten over the doubts and the fears, at a certain level, and then it all comes right back up at the next level, right? I find that also I'm someone who, I got into business and I was super aligned, very connected to who I was, being super authentic and real and leading with integrity. And not that I even purposely got off track, but I did get off track where I was more focused on, okay, what are the numbers? And we need to know the numbers. Like, we need to know the numbers. I'm not against knowing the numbers and having goals and setting those goals. I love that. But I was trying to keep up with the Joneses of the online world, right? I was comparing myself and then getting caught up in the bigger lists, the more money, the bigger launches, the this, the that, and made a few really big, I don't like to say mistakes, but they were, investments that I was making out of ego and out of fear. Fear that I wasn't enough to take myself to that next level. And I remember investing in this marketing guru who set up this entire funnel in Infusionsoft, and it was this crazy thing, and it was to sell out my live event, and we were going to sell 1,000 tickets to live stream. So I was in my head, I paid about $20,000 to invest in this guru to set this all up for me. And I was like, okay, if we sell 1,000 live stream tickets at $97, that's $97,000. I'm totally covering my butt. We didn't sell one ticket.
Oh my gosh.
And I had put all my eggs in this one marketing basket where I just was so sure. They were so sure that we would sell not only all the tickets for the live event, but all these live stream bonus tickets. And I didn't sell one live, and I sold, I think we may have sold one live stream, like, so $97, but no live ticket.
Live events, yeah.
And it was about a month out from the live event.
Yeah.
And I was like, crap, I gotta get, like, what am I gonna do? And so I went right back to, what do I do well? How do I connect with people? I reached out, got on the phone with people. I connected one-on-one to people. I did the connection piece that I know that's who I am, right? And I ran a Facebook challenge. I did all these things, and I ended up selling. There was 110 people that showed up to that event.
Nice.
But it was crazy. And it was just a realization of, I knew that I was making that decision out of fear and based on ego of, like, this person is the person who's going to take me to the next level.
Right.
Right? Like, I can't get there on my own. And there is a truth to that in some senses, but you have to know yourself. And I know that I just was basing it out of fear and ego, rather than, there are times where I've totally invested in some very high level things and it has been the right thing for me.
Yep.
But in that instance, and so it's just coming back to, like, trusting yourself, taking time out to, like, am I on track? Like, am I aligned with my values? Am I aligned with who I am as a person? I just had an opportunity to promote as an affiliate. I got an invite, and the odds were very likely that because she's in the same business of speaking and teaching speaking. But I've been to one of her events and it was off, right? For me, like how she teaches and kind of based in fear and things. She's very, very successful though, which is great for her. But so it just wasn't my way. And I remember the person that invited me said, she's giving a bonus of $125,000 if you're one of the top affiliates. And so you could make $125,000 right here. Just, I bet you, with like 3 emails. And I almost was enticed. And then I took that time to go, but wait a minute. I know that the way that some of the clients that I know have come to me after, right? Like they haven't been treated with the utmost of integrity and the values that I hold dear. And so I'm not going to sell out to make a quick 125,000, right? Like my people are more important to me than that paycheck. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to decline. So there's things like that come up a lot in business where we can get blinded a little bit, or like we kind of we get off track a little bit of why we're actually in business and what really matters and who we really are as a person. And it's so important to come back to that over and over again so that you don't get pulled too far off track.
Absolutely. Well said. And we all, I mean, the longer that you're in this game, the more lessons / mistakes / wow, didn't know that until now, you're going to have, and it's humbling. Yeah. And so, as you were in that that realm of like, oh my gosh, you thought you're going to sell all these tickets and blah, blah, blah. And then you realize, no, I'm going to have to do it my way. Like, I'm going to have to really come in and save this thing before it's just like done and over. What process, like, do you like tap into some kind of spiritual practice? Like, what gets you through those hard moments?
Mm-hmm. For me, there's this kind of formula that I always say, like, I set a goal, right? Like, and I work the numbers and I know exactly what needs to happen. And I'm a very planner, logical kind of person on one hand, very want to see it on paper. And I do the work, I show up, I'm a hard worker. So there's that element of like, yes, plan, yes, have clear intentions, set those goals, know how you're going to make it happen. But then there always, in every launch, in every moment, there's a time where I can feel myself pushing and kind of grasping at that goal. And it's not quite coming how I envisioned or how I thought it would or as soon as it would, whatever that is. And that's the moment where I go, oh, right, it's time to let go. And in that letting go of whatever expectation I have set on myself, and in sitting in gratitude and being like, wow, I have 10 people signed up, or I have 5 people, or I have one person that has said yes to this event, like sitting in that gratitude and releasing that need to control the outcome, but really still holding on to the intention, but releasing how that's going to come to play, and then getting creative. So I'll go into something creative, like totally like you see when I'm jumping out of the airplane or when I'm dancing at Zumba or so it has to be something totally unrelated where I absolutely disconnect from what's going on right now in that moment, and I go and I play, I get creative, I step away from it, and in that ultimately is where I hear the answer. I understand what I need to do. I've got that download of inspiration, and I come back and I get back to work.
Love that. So important to get out from behind your computer or your screen, and the surrender, the letting go. I'm just letting go. I'm letting go of all attachment to what I think this is supposed to look like, when it's supposed to happen, who is supposed to be involved, and simply release and trust the universe, and then move. Like, just go and have fun. I feel like for many people in this realm, that's super hard for them, because like we just head down and we're going, and then like for I've gone through periods where I just realized, this is not who I am. Like, I am not somebody who, works every single night and has to get up to crack of dawn to like keep doing it and just is checking. Like that's not the point. That's not why I started this whole thing. Like, what? This is not what it's about. And so, it's so interesting now where I am with the coaching I do with my clients, spiritual entrepreneurs. They are typically like service-minded businesses. They're out there, they're making things, they're creating things, they're tribal leaders, and they're, serving and they're helping. And so much of my questioning now when we get on a call, I'm like, how are you eating? What how many hours are you sleeping? What did you do for fun recently? Oh, did you have that conversation with your spouse about that, about that issue that we talked about? And so it's like, it's that, because, what happens in our business is like manifestation of the rest of the stuff, the personal life, like we can't really separate it out. So when we kind of realize that when my friend Amanda Moxley, she's been on the show before, she has some saying, it's kind of like, the more I play, the more I get paid. Which is
Love
so
that.
true. Like, you just have to get out there and trust that everything's going to be okay. Just keep
Mhm.
moving. If something isn't working out, like, go do that, and then, tweak if you need to. Listen to the audience. Go and put something else out there. Just ask, like, soft sell like you did with that original program. People are like, yes, and then you get it up there, and it doesn't have to be like super fancy with all the bells and whistles and, like, all the pro tech and tools. It's just like
Yeah.
basic, just basic. Put the offer out there, be able to take money, and go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of times, like, I'm super low tech on everything. I don't even have a membership site for like my programs or a
How do you
space.
deliver that? Yeah, how do you do that?
Yeah, so it's just been email and a PDF, and embedded in the PDF is a video. And then I am in the Facebook group, and I'm on the calls, and I'm doing hot seat calls. And I know that people get even more. I'll actually break it down. So every day there's like a simple takeaway challenge from the program.
Uh-huh.
So like they'll get this beautiful PDF, but it's like a whole chunk of stuff, right? And
Yeah.
so I break it down and say, do these 5 things this week, and one each day, and you
Got
will
it.
be moving through the course. Like, you will be
Perfect.
completing the course.
That's
So,
beautiful.
yeah, so giving them this, it's a low tech but really high touch experience.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's why you and I are connecting so much. Like,
Yes.
we are in a group together, and you made a post a few weeks back, and I was like, yes. Yeah, because what happens, because we do have a membership site for or a like a portal, an online portal for our stuff. We have several. I mean, I've been in this business since 2008, but like really online since late 2009. And so I have a lot of stuff, like I have a lot of content, which is great, but so easy to get kind of sidetracked by all the high tech and like this super complex, which I've done before. I've kind of been like, oh my gosh, that's what you have to do that. Like, if you're in this space, like, it's like required or something. You're going to get fired from this realm. Someone's going to like kick you out when they see that you're not doing all these things or whatever, following these rules. But as I've done some of that in the past, I realized like that was what was making me feel like dead. I was like zapping all of my energy because, like you, I'm very high touch and I appreciate technology, but I don't want to be like the ninja on all of that stuff. Like, it's just not, it's not my gift. And honestly, it's not really my interest. And I think if we get so kind of pull down that rabbit hole and we look what other people are doing and we think that we're supposed to do that too, it can kill the joy that we have for the work. And it's the work that we're really here to do, not be like the super ninja, unless that's your thing, unless you're like the tech master and you're teaching people. And of course, then you've got to embody that and really model it. But otherwise, like, I want our listeners to take that in, because I know many of them are on the cusp of launching their program, putting something out there that has meaning to them and they really are gifted at. And if you get so sidetracked by like, oh, it has to be all this fancy stuff. Like, literally I had a conversation with another one of my clients also today, and she, thought she had to have everything up on like Teachable and have all these and she's actually like pulling the plug on that now and moving into a much simpler delivery method because it just didn't work for her. Like, it just didn't make sense anymore. And I said, absolutely, go do it and celebrate.
Yes, I love that. And that's a huge lesson that I have come back to over and over again, is do it your way, right? Over and over, of like things that I've tested out, even from like hosting my 3-day event and hiring someone that really knows like the sell from the stage model, because I'm not the big hard sell kind of, and that's what I thought I needed to do. And on day 2, I came home and I bawled. I was so upset because it was so disconnected from who I was and how I like to show up. And I went in on that last day in the morning. I told my team, I'm totally taking, like, there is no sales table right here. Like, we're just like, I'm just like going, like, I just need them to know, like, I love them, I care for them. And I, whether they choose to work with me right now or not, or whatever it is, like, there's not all these limiters and And so I got up there and they're like, are you sure about this? This is craziness. You teach how to host a profitable event. I'm like, I know. And this is what I'm going to do. and I'm going to do it my way. And it was a hard thing, but also it was actually one of the easiest decisions I've made, of like being so vulnerable in front of 110 women. And in that sense, I got tons of these notes and emails of all these women saying, thank you so much for showing us that we can change course, that we can come back to ourselves, we can make mistakes and we can learn from them and we can do it our way. And this last time I did Shine Live, the same 3-day conference, I totally did it my way, like content, delivery, connection, all that. And I just said at one point, if there's someone I got all my Centerstage Live grads to stand up, and I said, go and talk to them. Like, if you're interested in Centerstage Live or Centerstage, go have a conversation with them, ask them questions. I had a few of them say their experience, but not up on the stage and all that formal platform. And it was beautiful. And I didn't even have a sales team. I said, if you're interested, this is what I have going on. I would love to work with you further. Made an invitation and said they could sign up online.
Didn't even have the order form in the room.
I didn't even have the order form. I went like the complete opposite. And I had double the sales on the back end than that first time.
Did you give them like any incentive to sign up over the next few days, or how did you handle that?
So I actually said too, like, because normally it's like sell at the event, right? You got to get them before they leave. And I just said, there's an early bird pricing on right now. So I gave that discount and I gave a few bonuses, but I said, I want you to think about it. I want you to take your time. And so I'll let you guys know when I'm going to increase the price, but there's no huge rush. But I did say, there's only 12 spots, right?
Okay, so there was that
kind of real limiter, because that's real. And so people were like, you know what? I know this is for me. And so I had quite a few people just jump on.
That's awesome. Yeah, because you had like your 100 plus in the room. You're like, there's 12 spots. So like no pressure, but once they're gone, they're gone.
Right.
That is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that story. That feels absolutely fantastic. You know, my way up in the entrepreneurial world was definitely attending the events that were not like that. Right. That were like the opposite of that. Okay. And then that's kind of like the model that you learn. And, it definitely works. It works because I've signed up for things as a result of that. And I've had events where I've run them in that way. But I remember it never felt like super great to me. It was kind of like, oh, I don't know about this. I mean, you want the right people to sign up anyway, not because they just felt super pressured and then they're going to be like regretting their decision. I have to say, I just had a live retreat like last week. You and I are talking in January. And it was last week. I was in Costa Rica for the whole week. I'm still kind of coming out from that. I'm like, whoa, what happened? Like, it was amazing. And I didn't do any selling there. It was for my mastermind. So they got it as part of their, it was like a 6-month experience. But there was such like spaciousness around that, where I wasn't like, I have to walk away with, X number of dollars and blah, 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 blah. It was just like, I'm just coming here to serve. I'm coming here to serve. Like, just them being here is a lot. It's an investment of their time and money to travel there and everything else. And a lot of stuff comes up at live events. It's you're vulnerable and you're kind of hitting up against your upper limits and all of that. So there was this gorgeous like release that I experienced as the leader, to not feel like now I've got to go up level you or upsell you into something. It's like, I know that many of those clients will become clients in future offerings of mine, like, because I just was really there to serve and love them and hold them up, hold them accountable. If they were making excuses or anything like that, I didn't dance away from that. I was like, no, let's go into that right now. But that's such a beautiful piece of wisdom that our listeners can take in. Like, do it your way. Don't like think that the industry has to be, like always following this same path, because if just something doesn't feel right to you, there's a reason why. There's a reason why. And so I think, that's a huge piece of your success, Chantelle. So before I ask you our final question, how can people stay in touch with you? How can they find out more about you? They want to learn about speaking, Centerstage, all that stuff.
Absolutely. So ChantelleAdams.com is my website. And then I do have a free video series that's Speak Your Way to the Top. And there is live challenges that are run throughout the year. But depending on when you're listening, there's also an evergreen opportunity to access that same training. And it's Speak Your Way to the Top is the training, but it's at centerstagecourse.com is the URL. And it teaches you how to get booked, how to deliver a standing ovation worthy speech, how to create 10K or more even from a free gig, and how to really design and craft your 90-day speaking profit plan.
Beautiful. And because you're Canadian, that's CENTRE, right?
Right. Yes, that's right.
Centerstage course. I saw that recently. I was like, yep, she's Canadian. Because you don't always know where people are from. Like, okay, I love Canada, by the way. It's like,
that's right.
It's such a great country. Totally. Okay, so centerstagecourse.com. All right, y'all. So go check that out. ChantelleAdams.com, centerstagecourse.com. We'll have that linked up on our show notes page, jennyfennig.com. You can type in Chantelle in the search bar and you will find the link to this episode. Okay, finale question. Really excited to hear what you have to say here. Chantelle, what is the gutsiest move you've ever made and how does it inspire your life and work today?
Yes, and I think I kind of gave it away in my story, but what it really comes back to is making that decision to say yes to all of my fears. And, in that, I've jumped out of the airplane. I've danced in a Latin dance competition. I've been able to start my business, to speak on all these stages, to co-author books, to do these incredible things, learn to ski at age 32 on still pizza legs all the way down the hill, but that's okay. I tried. But it's about life's experiences and bringing that, everything that I do, obviously through speaking, has been affected by courage in my business. When I take courageous action, when I get that download and I run with it instead of worrying about it being perfect, every single one of my decisions from that moment of realizing that fear was holding me back, every time I have said yes to courage and to moving through that fear, it's made the biggest difference in my life and in my business.
I love it. Say yes to your fears. Well done, girl. It has been amazing to have you on here. I'm really excited that we had a chance to talk, and I know our listeners got a tremendous amount of value from this conversation. So everybody, y'all out there in the Get Gutsy Galaxy, join me in thanking Chantelle Adams for bringing her wisdom and her magic to our virtual stage here. And all you listeners out there, this is Jenny Fennig sending you so much love, light, and faith as you get gutsy. I will see you next time.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and you're listening to Get Gutsy with Jenny Fennig. Gutsy leaders unite and ignite.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Get Gutsy as much as I enjoyed creating it for you. Are you responsible for leading and growing your spiritual business? If so, I have a free tool for you that will help you spread your message like wildfire. It's called the Sacred Marketing Puzzle, and it's a one-page PDF guide that simplifies the often mysterious and confusing world of marketing. When you use sacred marketing tools to amplify your message, you'll provide huge value to your tribe and grow your business. What are you waiting for? Go to jennyfennig.com/puzzle to get yours instantly. That's jennyfennig.com/puzzle. Gutsy leaders, unite.